All right, guys, let's knock out this review real quick. Number one, find the first 5 terms of the recursively defined sequence given that A1 is 3. Now, the good news is they've given you the first term already. So A1 is 3. Now, to find A2, this really says the next term is 8 times the previous term minus 2. So I'm going to do 8 times the previous term minus 2, which is 22. To find the third term, I'm going to do 8 times the previous term minus 2. 8 times 22 is 176 minus 2 is 174. The fourth term is going to be 8 times the previous term. 8 times 174 minus 2, which is 1390. I don't have my Apple Pencil, so it's not showing up great. And the fifth term is going to be 8 times the previous term, so 8 times 1390 minus 2. And I'm getting 11,118. Number 2, find the nth term. There's also a formula here of what's going on. So I'm going to say a sub n equals, let's see here. First of all, the bottom is all multiples of 2. So I'm going to put 2 in because 2 times 1, 2 times 2, 2 times 3. And I'm going to do this for the top. I'm going to put n plus 2 because if I plug 1 in there, I get 3. If I plug 2 in, I get 4. And that's really just trial and error. Look at the pattern. See if you can make something up. Let's go to 3. 3, find the first 4 partial sums. All right, so the first term is just plug in 1. So if I plug in 1 in here, I get 1. If I plug in 2, by the way, that's the first partial sum. I should say that. S1 is 1. The second partial sum, you got to add 1 plus what you get when you plug in 2. So if I plug in 2, I'm going to get 3. So 1 plus 3 is 4. The third partial sum, you're going to add what you get when you plug in 3, which is 5. So 1 plus 3 plus 5 is 9. And the fourth partial sum, you're going to plug in 4, which is going to give you 7. So if you add 7 to the last number, you get 16. Then this is the nth partial sum. Okay, so the sums are going 1, 4, 9, 16. When I look at those are squares. That's 1 squared, 2 squared, 3 squared. So the nth partial sum is going to be whatever the number is squared. That's going to be the sum. That's pretty cool. Number 4, rewrite without sigma notation. Oh my gosh, it's going to take a minute because it's starting with 5. That's not bad. So start off sigma by plugging the 5 in there. 5 squared is 25 times 2 is 50 minus 2 is 48. Now I'm going to plug 6 in there. 6 squared is 36 times 2 is 72. Minus 2 is 70. Now plug 7 in there. 7 squared is 49 times 2 is 98. Minus 2 is 96. Keep going. That's 5, 6, 7. So plug in 8. 8 squared is 64 times 2 is 128. Minus 2 is 126. I'm just talking this stuff through. Plug in 9. 9 squared is 81 times 2 is 162. Minus 2 is 160. Plug in 10. 10 squared is 100 times 2 is 200. Minus 2 is 198. And one more. 11. 11 squared is 121 times 2 would be 242. Minus 2, which is 240. All right, that's what they mean rewrite without sigma, right? What the sum is. You don't have to add them all up just because it didn't say find the value. It said rewrite. Rewrite using sigmas. Now we're going backwards. They want you to write sigma notation. And let's see what's happening here. It's going 8, 4, 8 thirds, 2. Okay, and when I see one like this and it's got the fraction, basically it's a good idea to kind of write them all as fractions to kind of see what happened there. 8 thirds, 2 is really 6 thirds. That doesn't help a whole lot. But also 2 is 6 thirds. 4 is, no, that doesn't help. Let's go back to the 2 a second. 2 would be 8 over 4. I'm dealing with the 8s on top. I see them 2 8s. So think about this. 8 is 8 over 1. That's this one. 4 is 8 over 2. That's 8 over 3. That's 8 over 4. So what's happening is I'm getting 8 over, n is changing. So if I start my n with 1 and go to 4, that should work. Think about plugging in 1 and then 2 and 3 and 4, and that gives it to me. Kind of trial and error there. You just kind of mess with it until you get it. That's, not a whole lot of work as much as a lot of thinking through what happened. Number 6 says evaluate the series. This time you actually got to evaluate it, which means find the value. So plug in the 5, plug in the 6, plug in the 7, plug in the 8, the 9, the 10, and the 11. And then you do have to add all those up. If I got them all punched in correctly, I'm getting 443. You need to check me on that one. I don't have my graphing calculator with me, so I can't see what all I punched in. Just gotta use my phone there and plug them in. So check me out. Number 7, find the first 4 terms in the 100 term in that sequence. So the way you find the terms, the first term you just plug in 1. That's gonna give you 2. Plug in 2, be 2 squared plus 1, which is 5. Plug in 3 would be 3 squared plus 1, which is 10. Plug in 4, which would be 4 squared plus 1, which is 17. The 100th term, plug in 100. 100 squared plus 1. 100 squared is 10,000, so it's going to be 10,001. And there you have all your answers right there. Number 8. This is all review now. I'm going to blow this up a little bit. Number 8. Graphs, set all the asymptotes, intercepts, all the stuff that you're so good at already. So let's start with the factoring. My numerator is going to be x plus 2, x minus 1. My denominator, come on now. My denominator is going to be x minus 3, x plus 1. All right, so here's what I know. I know my vertical is whatever makes the bottom 0. X equals 3 and x equals -1. There's my 2 verticals. My horizontal, this time, remember we have 3 cases. This time we got leading over leading because the degrees are the same, so it's just y equals 1. The x-intercepts, whatever makes the top 0. There's 2 of them this time. One is -2 and one is +1. The y-intercept, remember cover up all your x's or put zeros in for x. I get 2/3. And let's see what happens here. Vertical 3 right here. I missed that bad. Let me do that again. 3. There we go. A little better. Not much. One more time. 3. There we go. And -1. I'm getting a little better. Y equals 1 is going this way. Let's put some points up here. My x-intercepts -2. -2. Come on now. Is -2 and also +1. And my y-intercept is 2/3, which is like about right there. All right, so it looks like, and I'm again, I don't have my calculator with me, so I'm taking a big gamble here, but I'm thinking it's doing this. This side's coming down, probably going something like that. The right-hand side, let me just plug something in real quick. If I plug in 4, that's going to be, if I plug in 4, that'd be 6 times 5, that's 30 over 1 times 2. Yeah, way up here, so it's going to do this. The only part I'm not sure about that without my calculator is the middle part, so double check me. Domain, weird domain this time. Domain is for -infinity till it gets to -1. Then it goes from -1 to 3. And then it goes 3 to forever. Okay, so that's kind of weird. The range, though, as long as my middle section is correct, the range is like all reals because it's going up and down forever. Let's go to number 9. That's a little bit easier. Number 9, just sketch this graph. First of all, factor out the GCF, which is x squared. That will leave x squared minus 3x plus 2. Factor what you have left, which would be x minus 2, x minus 1. Which means my zeros are 0, 2, and 1. So I'm going to put them there. There's 0. Oh, they're right next to each other. That's awesome. I'm being sarcastic when I say that. All right, because this was even and positive, both ends are going to go up. Also, because the x squared is even degree, it's going to bounce at the 0. So it's going to come down, go through. No, it's not. It's going to bounce at the 0. I just said that. Bounce at the 0, go through the 1, back up through the 2. Something like that right there. Hint for tomorrow, if your very first term is negative, I'd factor out a negative x. Hope you heard that. All right, so number 10 says solve the logarithm equation for x. Let's do this. I think there's a typo in there. Let's make that a +2. Right there, I think that should fix it. So I see 2 logs added together, which means I'm going to multiply. I'm going to say x squared plus x minus 2. I'm going to do FOIL method right there. Equals 2. Now when you do a log, remember you're doing this base to that power equals all that stuff in the middle. So I'm going to get x squared plus x minus 2 equals 4. I'm going to move the 4 over, which is going to give me x squared plus x minus 6 equals 0. Factor that like x plus 3, x minus 2, which gives you 2 answers, -3 and +2. Plug them in to see if they work. -3 doesn't because it makes the log negative. 2 is okay. So there's your answer. Number 11. I'm going to change this one also. I don't know who made this practice test, but I don't like it very much. Okay, so let's say list all the possible ones. Possible plus or minus the factors of the last number over factors of the first. So it'd be 1, 3, and 9, 1/2, 3 halves, 9 halves. Now what we're going to do is we're going to punch this in our calculator and find one that works. And it looks like maybe -3. So I'm going to take the -3, plug it in the box here, and go to -1, -19, 9, and 9. Bring the 2 down, multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add. That is 1. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I got to find one more thing that works here. So I'm going to look at my calculator again, see what else I see. Looks like it could be the -1/2. So I'm going to try -1/2 in here. Bring the 2 down. Half of 2 is a -1. Add them up. Multiply. Add them up. Multiply. Yep. There's the other one. Now, because I have a 1/2 in the box, first of all, I got 2 of my zeros right there. I can reduce those numbers. I can write 1x squared minus 4x plus 3. I think that factors into x minus 3, x minus 1. So all my zeros would be 3, 1, -1/2, and -3. So there's all 4 zeros. And you got to prove that they work. Remember, don't just write them off your calculator. You got to show the synthetic or show the factoring. So just make sure you do that. Okay, I'm going to erase those real quick to give me some room for this last one. Okay, number 12. Number 12, simplify this. Got to multiply the numerator and denominator by the conjugate of the denominator. The conjugate of 2 plus 3i. I bet wrong. It's 2 minus 3i. Come on, 2 minus 3i. I'm sorry for my handwriting is worse than usual because I don't have my Apple Pencil. That is bad anyway, but gosh, without that thing. First, last on the bottom, 4 minus 9i squared. Remember, I squared is really -1, so the denominator becomes 13. On the top, I'm doing FOIL. First, outer, inner, and last. I don't know why I put a square on that. First I, going crazy here. But my last will have a square, be 15i squared. Now remember, I can add that. That's really a -15. 6 minus 15 is -9. Add the 2 i's together, get -19i. And there you have it. Hope that helps. Hope you make 100 tomorrow. Last test before spring break. You got this. See you tomorrow.